Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? Good? How was the breakfast? If you haven't gotten the breakfast yet, there's maybe some breakfast in the back. Um, Welcome. It is an honor for us to have you here with us in this very important program. As you know, we continue having conversations about innovations and the impact of all of these innovations to teaching and learning. And believe it or not, it is the 11th edition of the Bronze Tech Showcase. It's been 11 years that we started with the mission of creating opportunities for building communities of practice, opportunities for us to have spaces and have conversations about how technology is changing the way that we teach, the way that we learn. And it has been a very rewarding journey for us to see so many things that go on. And um, although we have been having too many discussions about AI lately, one good thing about AI is, if you notice, is that we're not talking so much about pandemic, post-pandemic. We're concentrating on AI and concentrating on what AI is doing, how AI is helping um, to transform not just the educational spectrum, but changing every part of our lives. And with this, we want to make sure that then we spend this day in having conversations. You know, we saw lots of conversations going on already in the morning, and it is great to see familiar faces, right? So we're not just through the Zoom window, and now we're able to have those conversations, have good networking, and being able to connect with colleagues across CUNY. You know, we're very happy to see colleagues from all across the university coming for this conference. And with that, I'll come back to provide some logistics information, but I wanted to invite to the podium to our president, Dr. Daisy Coco de Felippis, to provide welcoming remarks.
Good morning, buenos dias. I, I have to say, it is quite impressive on a Friday to see, and I see some wonderful friends from other, beautiful, beautiful. So I just want to say, I will be staying just for a little while because I've been struggling with a cold, as you can hear, right? And I, as much as I am generous, I do not want to spread the germs. So I wanted to tell you how delighted I am. I mean, this is really quite a turnout for a Friday morning, and this is a large room. So very, very happy to see that, uh, and delighted to welcome you to the 2024 Bronx EdTech Showcase. Doesn't that sound spectacular? Showcase. So I want to see how much you can showcase before I run out so I can enjoy. So a very special thank you to our provost, Shankwei Wang, and the OAA team, the faculty. I mean, I've seen department chairs and librarians and all of these wonderful people, but in most particularly our colleagues in educational technology. Mil gracias. So a more relevant topic, and I have to tell you, it is always, it's been with us for a while, but we're just really beginning to pay attention when it comes to the academics. Uh, it couldn't have been a better topic for today's conference, and how these tools can be used to enhance and augment the learning process. I think in particular to expand the kind of ways in which we communicate, but also critical thinking. Critical thinking, we're just going to cut and paste or have someone write something for us, and how we're going to be able to use that information in ways that reflect our own personal voice. So, so how do we prioritize original, creative, and critical thinking while still availing ourselves provided by our artificial intelligence? What are the ethical, legal, and moral issues surrounding its use? How do we use it most effectively? These and other questions are easily posed, but their answers are not that easy. It gets a little complicated, believe me. I sit on a committee with faculty where we have been discussing number of articles around AI and and the academic world. And so as we seek to define our relationship with AI, we will draw upon educators and students alike. I'd like to thank my colleagues, Dr. Fernando Delgado, at that end, president of Lehman College, and Dr. Minto Santiago, right here, interim president, Bronx Community College. Someone we're familiar with because Milton has been a CUNY. I remember him when he was at Lehman years back. For their roles in making this event possible, and all their staff and faculty here. I talked to some of the Bronx Community College faculty. I know them because I went to give a talk there last year. They're saying, come back this year. So I said, you don't want to hear me talk again. They said, well, you're Dominican. You can do this. You can do it a few times. Anyway, I also like to gratefully acknowledge our keynote speaker, Dr. Jorge Silvia Puras, who's the interim provost of Lehman and had been a distinguished lecturer here at Osto. So he's loved here. And Dr. Asma Nesblet, the higher education offer specialist from the Center for Teaching and Learning at Lehman College. It's been said that all challenges are really opportunities. If such is the case, then artificial intelligence presents us with a wealth of opportunities. We can best take advantage of those opportunities by approaching them openly and with a confidence born of knowledge and experience. I wish you all a fascinating and informative day. Mil gracias, as we say in Ostos, mil gracias y bendiciones. A blessing, many blessings, and good health and happiness to all of you. And thank you.
Many thanks to our president. I would like to invite to the stage to President Fernando Delgado from Lehman College to provide welcoming remarks.
Like every student who doesn't plan well, I sit in the back corner and then realize, oh, I got to walk this far. Is it okay if I shut this? Is it better that way? I just didn't want to scratch it. Because I know if I break it, she'll make me buy it. Hey, and Daisy, we hope you feel better. Thank you for telling us that you're not feeling well. I noticed you told us 5 minutes after you shook my hand, though. I'm just saying. So a month or two ago, somebody on my campus said they want you to come to Bronx Tech and talk about AI. I'm like, well, that's interesting because Bronx Tech's supposed to be about technology. You'd only ask me to talk about AI because, I have a background in sociology of sport. But yeah, if they want to hear about Allen Iverson, I'm happy to talk about Allen Iverson and his cultural role. Excuse me. He was a famous former basketball player who spent most of his career with the Philadelphia 76ers. And then a few weeks ago, I noticed in the email that there was a prompt from Steve Castellano from our campus with a bunch of questions like, oh, crap, artificial intelligence. So happily, I teach also courses in popular culture and film. And so I thought, oh, I'll start watching all of those old films. And then it just made me scared about AI again. And I suspect a lot of people are a little afraid about artificial intelligence. And yet, like many things with technology, whatever we're afraid about doesn't matter. It's still going to come, right? I imagine some of us are old enough to remember, particularly after we got really good. You mean I have to manage a duplex copier, printer, fax machine. I got so good at mimeographs. I don't want to do this. And then you learned how to push the buttons right and change the toner. And some of us got really good at unsticking the paper because those first generations, they always got stuck. Oh, those Canon copiers were a piece of. Anyhow, it's here with us. So I tried to cobble together some clear and coherent thoughts about artificial intelligence. Nobody here has a background in technology or computer science is going to be blown away. As I said, I'm a humble president whose background is in communication, sociology, popular culture. My dad, who did work in Silicon Valley for 30 years as an engineer, is somewhere in his grave going, "Mijo, I'm still so disappointed," but whatever. My brother's a doctor. He can be proud about that. Artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science focused on creating machines that can perform tasks which normally require human intelligence, such as understanding natural language and recognizing patterns. It works by analyzing vast amounts of data, something near and dear to our hearts in higher ed these days, learning from it to make decisions or predictions much like a human brain. And we make a lot of predictions on the data that we can cobble together, right? But at a much faster rate than humans can do. AI, I think, certainly has a place in education, and it can offer personalized learning experience, and it can automate administrative tasks to allow educators more time to focus on teaching and support staff more time for face-to-face interactions with students or prospective students. The advantages of AI are numerous, including its ability to process and analyze data at an unprecedented scale and speed, improve efficiency in various sectors, and it can certainly enhance decision-making processes with insights derived from complex data analysis. But of course, you always have to blame a president for something, so sooner or later, the buck's gonna stop with us in terms of decision-making. And so why do I think AI is so important? Because it wrote my speech for me. Because I took Castellano's prompts and I went to my assistant, William, because I don't know how to manipulate ChatGPT. And I said, "William, put these prompts in and say we need a short speech on AI." And this is what it chunked out. I made 4 edits. I added some nouns and pronouns. That's what it can do. Does this make it an authentic or inauthentic speech? We have philosophers here. They can talk about that. I will say, as a communication person, the moment I spoke these out, wherever I derived them from, I am the owner of these words and I'm responsible for these words. And how do I know that? Because if I had said something wrong or untoward or ill-mannered or stole these ideas from somebody else, you would hold me accountable, not some machine or piece of software. So those pieces of the human part of teaching and learning and research will always be there. But it's a bold new world. I got to go to DC last week with ASCU, and with about 30 other presidents, sat in a room where people from various agencies stood in front of us for about 4 hours and talked about the power and potential of AI. And many of us fought it. There was one gentleman in front of us who was not having it on his campus. And the poor presenter said, "You can't stop it. It's already on your campus. And oh, by the way, AI has been around for 5 decades. It's just at a scale and speed now that is integrated, and we have the computational power at our hands to make it useful." So the best that we can do is figure out how to make it work best for us. And I walked out of that meeting not sure how I would handle it as a teacher, but I saw the opportunities for us as a university, not just with the data, but for communicating with our students in much more effective and robust and automated ways, so that I could free up employees to spend more time with the more difficult circumstances that students may present and make that a much more human experience, because our staff would have more time because some of the routinized tasks in communication were taken care of. In this room are a lot of people who have a lot better ideas. I got a provost in the back of the room who's a lot smarter about this than I am. And by the way, if you ever aspire to be a president, the smartest thing you can do, hire a provost who works harder and smarter than you. Makes your life so much easier, so much easier. But we need to not fight AI, but figure out the most effective ways to integrate and confront how AI is going to change what we do and how we do it in higher education. And thankfully at CUNY, we got some smart people who are forward thinking. And so I have a lot of confidence that we can take the lead on this, and knock on wood, with the fine work of our colleagues at BCC and Hostos and Lehman. Some smart folks down in DC will give us, what was it, about $1.5 million to figure out how to do things with AI. And maybe for once in the 5 boroughs, Manhattan will look to Bronx for answers and solutions. Right now, it can only look to us for safe campuses, but perhaps they can see us for other things. Because I think it's important and maybe notable for us to take the lead on this, because we're in the Bronx, in part, not just because of who our students are demographically in terms of race or ethnicity or nationality, but because we're the youngest borough of the 5. And so our students represent the future where AI is not a thought, it's not a possibility, it is the reality. So I'm so happy we have these kinds of opportunities to come together. I'm so happy we have the brilliant minds we do. Daisy, thank you for opening up your campus to us. At a time when many people are closing campuses, the fact that we can still gather in places happily is a wonderful thing. And much like Daisy, at some point I'm going to have to step out and head back to my campus, because I think it shuts down when neither Jorge nor I are off a campus. Because if not, then the finance VP, she'll take over everything. No, I've got a couple of things I need to take over on campus. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I know I've overstayed my welcome. Have a wonderful set of sessions, and thank you for coming out on this Friday.
Thank you, President Delgado. And last but not least, I would like to invite President Milton Santiago from Bronx Community College.
Thank you, thank you. Buenos dias. Muy buenos dias. Are we awake yet? You know, I'm a little punchy from watching that game last night. I don't know how many of you stayed up late to watch the Knicks, but you know, I had to, right? I mean, way past my bedtime, but I had to, because you know, the last time the Knicks won a championship, I was a senior in high school. Unbelievable. And this is, you know, I never thought I would stay in higher ed for this long. I started higher ed in the early 80s, so this is essentially my 5th decade in higher ed. And 4 of those decades have been with CUNY. So I have seen a lot in terms of technology, right, coming from CUNY. You know, to do my Virginia Slims ad, we've come a long way, baby. Okay, and and I remember, and maybe I know Daisy would surely remember having an email that said CUNY VM. That was among the very first machines that we had that were capable of doing emails at that time. And it looked, you know, like very robotic. The screen was dark. The letters were orange. You know, just laughing. So you know, we really have come a long way, right? So the decade of the 90s was that, right? And then towards the end of the 90s, we all started worrying about Y2K. What's going to happen, Y2K? Take the money out of your bank, put it in a safe. Nothing happened, right? We were able to handle it. You know, the nuclear clock worked, so everything was fine. So that was and then the beginning of 2000s was when I think that many institutions, particularly in CUNY, you know, started incorporating. It started with distance learning education, right? That was the nomenclature back then, and that was done via satellite, right? Which was a very expensive proposition for many public institutions. I was at Lehman at that time, and Lehman was part of the, and still is part of the HEADS consortium. I mean, that's where long distance education via satellite started out. Again, very expensive, so we needed something different. And all of a sudden, asynchronous courses came about, right? And there were concerns from many public higher education institutions, particularly on the faculty side, that they were going to get replaced, And which kind of, I never understood that one, because who's going to do the online courses if not them, right? So, but it happened, right? So now we have many asynchronous courses. Now we have majors even that you can do online. Technology changes by leaps and bounds every day, right? Every day. And that's how it happened during that first decade of the 2000s to until 2009. Then came, and it's still around, augmented virtual reality, and that kind of came at 210, and got us through that decade, and now we are in the decade of artificial intelligence. So that's where we are today. So let me just say that it is with great pleasure that I extend a warm welcome to all of you to this Bronx Ed Tech Showcase. And this is an event that I think promises to be a catalyst for transformative discussions and insights into what we can do with this technology. As the interim president of Bronx Community College, it fills me with immense pride to see such a diverse gathering of students, of faculty, of educators, innovators, and industry leaders, all converging to explore the dynamic intersection of education, technology, and artificial intelligence. Today, our theme, Let's Talk, Rethinking Authentic Learning and Assessment in the Age of AI, could not be more pertinent. In an era defined by rapid technological advancement, it is imperative that we continuously reevaluate our approaches to teaching, to learning, and to assess. As we witness the ever-expanding capabilities of AI, we are challenged to redefine what constitutes authentic learning experiences, and how we assess the acquisition of such knowledge and skills in this digital landscape. Throughout the day, I encourage each and every one of you to engage in an open dialogue. Share your insights and challenges. Share your conventional wisdom. Together, let us explore how we can harness the power of technology and AI to not only enhance learning outcomes, but also to foster a deeper sense of creativity, critical thinking, and empathy in our students. I just got back from Spain for a HACU invitation that I accepted, sponsored by the State Ed Department, on vocational education in Spain. Specifically, the State Ed Department is interested in community colleges being engaged in international exchanges for faculty and students with Spain and their vocational educational system. And I got to tell you that I was super impressed. They are leaps and bounds ahead of us in many aspects, which I kind of find unacceptable because we have great brains, great minds here to be able to do that. Obviously, one of the issues that was raised by our colleague Daisy Coca de Felipes was the issue of ethics in AI, and how we're going to tackle that. And Dr. Delgado mentioned the philosophers in the room, right? So, some of these things, do have to be explored, but I think that it has been done elsewhere, so we don't have to start from scratch. We can look at other models and see what we might be able to adapt. But one of the things that I was most impressed about is they are leaps and bounds in robotics education for both high school and community college students. That impressed me because that is something that we can do here, right? They had a robotic dog, right? That's the kind of dog that I want. I don't have to walk him every morning and twice a day. And they have. I had a paella made by 2 robots, and so that was also impressive. So there are institutions out there that we can seek knowledge of how they are utilizing this great technology for the benefit of not only education, but really for the benefit of humankind. Just think about, people with disabilities in an apartment or in a wheelchair that can't reach things. They had cabinets that come down to the level where someone in a wheelchair can access whatever they have in the cupboard, and it goes back up. They have a refrigerator in AI that tracks the food that's in there. For people so that they know when they need to go shopping for specific products. I mean, it's incredible. And I think that we are quite capable of doing the same here. So I extend my heartfelt gratitude to President Coco de Felipes and Foster's Community College for hosting this event, and to our esteemed speakers, our sponsors, and our organizing committee for their dedication in making this event possible. May today's discussions inspire us all to embrace innovation, adaptability, and collaboration as we strive to shape the future of higher education. Once again, welcome to the Bronx Tech Showcase, and let the conversations begin. Thank you.
Thank you, President Santiago. And I'm going to be very quick to provide some housekeeping information. If this works, my work. For those of you who need to connect to the internet so that you have an interaction with AI or ChatGPT, you could find the information for the network to connect. It's in here. There's also a QR code that you can scan, and then you will be able to see the details for the program. And you already have the program. You have a a quick guide for where the sessions are going to be, but the details of the programs are in the QR code. The presentations will be in this building. You could go to the third floor, the elevators all the way to the back. All of the presentations are at the fifth floor, so it's just 2 flights up. And you will have all of the staff that is supporting the event. You will see them with the Bronx Tech Showcase T-shirts, so then they'll be able to guide you to where you should be able to go. And we will come back to this place for lunch. And then, we're making nice, good, and food for you when you come back. And the rest of the program will be here in the afternoon, the keynote and the student panel. So we look forward for all of these wonderful conversations that you will be having, and, we're set to go. Have a great conference.